Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's Local First Arizona workshop. Get out of the chaos kitchen, cook up a scalable business recipe. My name is Alyssa Pruitt, and I'm the Director of Coalition Resources here at Local First. And I'm so glad you're able to join us today for this important conversation on how to streamline your business and set yourself up for sustainable growth. Before we get started, I wanted to remind everyone that and make sure that you have access to the tools that you need to fully engage today. There is closed caption and language translation tools available at the bottom. Let me go ahead and let other folks in here that are going to be available at the bottom of the screen. There is also chat available in your bottom Zoom tools there. If you have any technical issues during the event today, please feel free to leave those in the chat. If you have any questions for our presenter, we will have a Q&A, a questions and answer period at the end of the session. So please feel free to leave those in the chat. At the end of the session, please feel free, again, to utilize the chat or to come off mute and to come on screen and to ask Cheryl some questions. Happy to engage in that conversation. Also, we are recording today's session, and I will be sending out this link in a follow-up email within a couple of days once we post that to our local learning lab, so you will get the recording. Now, let's talk about why we're here today. If your business ever feels more like a chaotic kitchen than a well-planned feast, you're not alone. Many entrepreneurs struggle with feeling overwhelmed, constantly putting out fires instead of focusing on sustainable growth. But today we are going to change that. We are so lucky we have an incredible expert with us, someone who's helped countless business owners transform messy operations into smooth, scalable systems. Cheryl L. James is the founder of CL James Consulting and brings over 27 years of operational and tech experience to the table. She specializes in simplifying systems, reducing stress, and helping entrepreneurs build businesses that run like clockwork. And today, she is sharing her recipe for success with all of us. So without further ado, please help welcome our expert for today's session, Cheryl L. James. Take it away, Cheryl.
Thank you so much, Alyssa. Thank you all for joining. I'm so excited to be here. Again, my name's Cheryl James, and I help business owners streamline their operations. I'm basically your technology girl. The goal is to help business owners stress less and profit more. Now, let's be honest. How many of you feel like your business is running you instead of the other way around? Can't see hands, but I'm sure there's some up. Today, we're here to fix that. So let me share my screen and we can get started. So thinking about your chaotic kitchen, this is what some people's real kitchens look like. But more importantly, this is what a lot of business kitchens look like. Let's talk about what it means to have a chaotic kitchen. Let's do a reality check. As business owners, we have limited resources. We do not have unlimited time, money, or team members. So that leads to some of the chaos. We're managing a lot of growing pains. You want to scale, but growth comes with its own headaches, and we all know that. It also comes with many hats. You have regulatory hurdles. Some businesses, you're dealing with compliance, but all of our businesses deal with taxes. I know that's the ugly word right now, especially, and a lot of legal stuff that unless we have law degrees, we can't handle it on our own. Then there's the competitive landscape. The market changes fast. There's a new player every day. So how do we stay ahead of that and keep going without slowing down? And then there's work-life balance. Let's be honest, burnout is real. And as an entrepreneur, burnout is almost often or daily. And it's definitely going to happen at some point if we do not ensure that we are implementing the right things to manage our work-life balance. These 5 things lead to what I call your chaos kitchen. But Don't worry, we are here today to get solutions for that. So let's talk about a recipe for scalability. Assess your kitchen. We can't fix things until we figure out what's broken. So we need to evaluate our current processes. We need to determine where are there areas for improvement and then start to put that plan together to resolve those things. I say a lot of businesses reach a what I call a revenue ceiling because they don't have a solid foundation. You have to have a solid foundation if your goal is to scale. Now, when I say foundation, that's not only your vision and your mission, but there's everything that your business is built on. Think about the foundation for your house. You need to standardize your processes. No more just winging it. We have to create a level of consistency that will allow us to grow the business. And think about this, if you're doing something more than once, it should have some type of standard process. We want to automate and delegate. Free yourself from the busy work. Your zone of genius is really not in the day-to-day tasks. Your zone of genius is doing what you do best. And that's where you're going to generate revenue. So let's automate those other things. And then let's continuously improve because what works today might not work tomorrow. So we want to keep it a ongoing effort so that you're continuously and regularly looking at your processes and then determining what you can do better. So let's go with our recipe here. What's our first ingredient? To systemize your operations. This is kind of my sweet spot. Efficient processes, standardized workflows. Every task that's repeatable should have an automated workflow. That is so critical in your ability to grow. When you think about lack of processes or lack of systems, think about the fact that you're putting a cap on the number of clients or the number of things, whatever that thing is you sell, the number of them that you can sell because it is capped by how many hours you have in your day. If you automate things, you can streamline that and it increases not only your time, but your revenue making potential. Automation. You're going to hear me say automation a lot today because it's those things, those solutions. And I'll keep it really, really simple. This automation does not have to be difficult or expensive. Automation could be simply as easily as that you have a calendar link that you send out to people so that they can get on your calendar. You would be surprised how many people are still emailing and texting saying, when are you available? Does tomorrow at 1 works? That takes time. You want a scalable infrastructure. Your system should grow with you. So oftentimes small business owners pick things, free versions of tools and tools that work today, but they're not thinking with the 2-year, 3-year, 5-year goals in mind. And as a result, they have to go through the pain of change of systems quite often. You want to make data-driven decisions. Use your data that you're capturing either from your CRM or your other tools that you should be using. And let's make decisions based on the data. It could be your social media insights. All of those things give you data that is supposed to drive you to make better decisions. So we're going to stop using our gut and making emotional decisions, and we're going to start with the data-driven decisions. And then as you're building out your team, you want to have collaborative tools in place. That could be tools like Teams or Slack or Google Chat. There are so many tools out there where you can talk to people and communicate regardless of where they are in the world. So you want to have some tools in place that you can utilize so that you can easily communicate and not always have to wait for emails. Okay, let's talk about the team because we want to delegate and empower the team. Now, before anyone says it, I don't have a team. Many of us don't have a team in the sense that we don't have employees, but that doesn't mean team. Team could be your VA. My VA is in Venezuela, so she's still part of my team. You can have an online business manager that sits somewhere else. You can have a fractional COO like myself that you use periodically. So you want to think about how can you put some resources in place, because you cannot grow if you're doing everything yourself. I'm going to repeat that. You cannot grow if you're doing everything yourself. I see so many businesses stuck because they don't trust anyone to do anything for them. I'm sure that sounds familiar to a lot of people. But here's the thing, whether it is a virtual assistant or online business manager, your team should be doing things on your behalf to free you up to be the CEO. So I'm just going to sit that there for a minute, because that means you can't be the social media manager, and you can't book all the meetings, and you can't plan the events, and you cannot do everything if you plan to scale. Finances, streamlining your finances. I wish I could see you all, because my question is, how many people understand their finances? Not a lot. Profitability is more important than revenue. And a lot of people would say I disagree. But what if you make $1 million, but you have $995,000 in expenses? You're not profitable. So cash flow optimization is key. What is that? It is about how you invoice your clients, how you pay your bills, and how you get paid. Oftentimes, as small business owners, we're so excited that we get the contract, we don't even think about the payment terms. And then you look up and they say, oh, we'll pay you net 90 or net 120. We have to understand all of those financial factors to ensure that our finances and our cash flow is as it should be. And then expense reduction. Many businesses waste money on things. I was just in a meeting recently, and the business owner told me that she has this really, really weak spot that if someone tells her about a new tool, she generally goes out and purchases it. That's great, but how many of those tools do you actually use? And how often do you look at your expenses to go back and discontinue things that do not suit you? According to the Small Business Administration, cash flow, or more so finances, is one of the #1 reasons why businesses fail. So we want to get ahead of that curve and look at the finances and cut unnecessary costs. Technology. So technology is both a good and a bad thing. It's great because there are so many tools out there that we can leverage to help us scale our business. It's bad because there's so many tools out there that we can use and select from. So ensuring that you're doing your proper research and implementing the tools that are critical for your business. So let's talk through some. Process automation. This is where we create those workflows that are repetitive tasks that you're currently doing manually. This could be scheduling your social media. This could be you sending out your newsletter. This could be sending out email marketing campaigns. All of those things come from automation. And automation works best when you can set them up as triggerable events. So what does that mean? You have a trigger. Someone schedules a meeting with you. Email should go out. There's time for a follow-up with that person. Email should go out. Or if you're using text messaging, automate as much as possible so that these things can happen while you're sleeping. Your CRM, or your customer relationship management tool. Every business, regardless of size, should have a CRM. You should be capturing your customer information. You should be nurturing prospective customers. You should be following up with previous customers, keeping them loyal and keeping you top of mind. Ensuring that these things are scheduled to happen will help you be more successful. Just hoping you find time to do them is not the pathway to success. Cloud-based collaboration tools. What is that? Google Workspace or Microsoft, all of these tools that are out there that stores your data in the cloud and allows you to collaborate either with your clients or with your team. You want to have your team be able to go in and look at a Google Doc or a Google spreadsheet or something without you having to send the latest version to them via email like we did in 1990. Then let's talk about marketing automation. This is kind of one of my favorites because nurturing your leads without having to manually send emails is another recipe for success. Making sure that you can start and continue a conversation and develop a relationship with prospective clients as well with previous clients allows you to make yourself more competitive. They're more likely to come back and work with you if you have nurtured that relationship. Then data analytics and visualization. So again, going back to talking about those insights that we get, whether it's from social media or hits on your website or people putting things in a shopping cart on your website and not actually doing a checkout. All of that data you should be not only capturing, but you should be reviewing and actioning. It helps you know what's working and what's not. I know on social media, we're all chasing likes and things like that, but what are we doing with that information? Are we saying my audience likes this, I should give them more of it? Or are we saying no one liked it, maybe I should do less of that? Okay, too niche or not too niche is always a question. People always ask that, but I'm going to tell you the riches are in the niches. When you niche down and become a subject matter expert in a thing or in an area, you attract better clients because they see you as the expert. You can speak their language. You can charge higher prices because you're solving a specific problem. And then it helps you to stand out in your industry because you're not trying to be everything to everyone. A lot of times when we see, a lot of people say, let me say this, that when we watch television commercials, that they're speaking to everyone, but they're not. They're really not. If you are in the market to buy a Toyota, you're not intrigued by the Tesla commercial. So that's what we have to think about with our messaging. Who are we talking to? Because talking to everyone means you're talking to no one. Okay, let's put our recipe together. Scalability recipe, this is what I'm calling this. You are identifying your core competencies. What sets you apart? What makes you different? What makes you you, and what makes your customers want to come work with you versus the guy next door? You need a scalable business model. Make sure your structure can grow with you. You want to create flexible frameworks and you want to think about tomorrow. And tomorrow is next year, 3 years from now, 5 years from now. Have your business model be able to grow you to that point. Leverage synergies and integrations. Make sure that you're using the right tools and you have the right partnerships. Partnerships is critical. Working with other people helps you get ahead much faster than you doing it by yourself. We want to embrace the data-driven approach. Stop guessing. We spend a lot of time guessing. We're looking at social media, we're looking online, we're assuming that maybe someone else is doing it better because they're doing it different. Let's not guess. Let's use facts. Let's look at the data and action it based on what we're seeing. And foster a culture of innovation. Keep improving. That means you should go out on a periodic basis and see what new tools are out there, especially if we're talking about AI. There's a new tool for AI every day. So think about that. Think about being innovative. Think about making sure you're learning new technology. If you are someone who's really not into technology, it's just not your thing, work with someone else. Create a partnership with someone who can help you stay abreast of the types of technology that will benefit you and your business and help your business to be innovative. So that is the end of my presentation. But before we wrap up, I just want to say this journey is not about just doing more. It's about doing the right things better. So I thank you today for taking your time to hang out with me, and I'm open for questions.
Fabulous. Thank you so much, Cheryl. Really great outline. We really appreciate all of that information. If you have questions, please feel free to enter them in the chat. You can access the chat on the bottom of your screen with the Zoom tools, or feel free to come off mute and ask your question live. Any questions?
I have a comment, and based on a comment that was made in the chat, Cheryl. Great presentation, by the way. Thank you so much. You touched
Thank
on
you.
every ingredient or every pinpoint that a business has when it comes to scaling their business. One of the participants mentioned that it takes them years to implement a new or better tools in their business. Can you share any best practices on not having that fear or holding back from implementing, or how to implement those practices right away into your business model?
Absolutely. That's a great question. A lot of small business owners struggle with that. They have a lot of what I call half-baked tools. So they started the implementation and they've never completed it. I would say a lot of systems or a lot of companies offer implementation assistance. If that is something that's available or you can negotiate in a package, I would say do that. If you are not a subject matter expert in the tool, it is worth it to hire someone to help you get it implemented. And one of the things that I always say is just as important as implementing a new tool is de-implementing the old tool, because just human nature, we will always lean on the familiar and go back to the old tool and not force us to fully embrace the new solution.
Great feedback. Thank you so much.
I like what you shared about CRM, and I see a lot of our businesses not really embrace that today. Can you hit a couple more points on why it's so essential to not just have that one-time sale and what you're missing out on by not implementing some form of CRM?
Absolutely. So as business owners, often we're chasing the shiny new object, and the shiny new object is the next client. And I'm not saying we shouldn't be looking for the next client, but the gold mine is in the clients that have already worked with you. We often forget to check in on them. So putting things in your CRM, like your client's birthday, things like that, so that you can send them a happy birthday note. Doing things like just saying, hey, here's a monthly check-in. This is what we're doing in the business. This is a new service that we're offering. I'm offering a referral special. Talking to them and letting them know what's going on is critical. And if you're in an industry where there's a lot of change, go to them and give them relevant pieces of information that they can start to look to you as a trusted advisor. So using your CRM to automate these things takes it from being top of your mind. It takes it off your things to do list because it's already just going to happen. So you want to use your CRM to store all of your client details, conversations you've had with them. They've got a daughter graduating. Make a note of that in your CRM so that when you have a conversation with them next time, you can follow up. That creates a personal connection, and people are more likely to spend money with you.
Thank you, Cheryl. I actually have a couple businesses in the chat as well, asking for you to expand a bit to explain the services that you provide today and what it looks like working with you.
Absolutely. So I do a number of things. I do system audits. I do CRM implementation, since we're talking about CRMs. I build out workflows so all of those repetitive tasks can be done. I work either on a retainer or on a project basis. So you could hire me to do a project. You could hire me to be a part of your staff, kind of a fractional chief operating officer. I am very flexible with how I work with my customers because they're all at different places. And one of my models is meet people where they're at. So I meet you where you are and we get you where you're going.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I did have some asks for Cheryl's contact information. I did share that in the chat, but also I will share that in an email with the recording of today's workshop as well. So no worries, you will get that information too. Before we conclude today, were there any more questions? I know it was a quick one, but really, really good information. Great outline. Kristen, did you have a question?
Yes, I just have one question. Hi, Cheryl. Thank you
Hey,
so much
Kristen.
for the presentation. I'm curious about, I have done most of my business on my own for the first 2 years, and I'm currently in the process of starting to hire contractors and outsource some of the work and manage projects differently than just for myself. I do not yet have a project management system. Do you have recommendations for a project management system for someone shifting from very small business focused, single owner, being the worker bee focus, to having other people do the work? Sorry, my dog. Any recommendations you have there would be helpful. Thank you.
You know what? It really, really depends on type of business and honestly, your personality. There are some really, really easy to implement and get up and running ones out there, like Asana. Does a lot of that for you, and you can build really good workflows. Trello is very simple, also very inexpensive. ClickUp. All of these tools do pretty much the same thing. But Kristen, let's have a conversation, because depending on how you're going to use it, I can narrow down the recommendation for you.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you. Yeah, I'll reach out.
Okay.
Thank you. Farida, did you have a question?
Yes. Okay. Hi, there I am. So, is it possible, like, to have, because I have like a lot of necessities in my business, and like I feel like I don't know where to start. So, is the consulting, like with the consulting, would you be a good option, like to maybe like trace a path to follow and maybe like break down the priorities with me, because it's tough. I feel like I've done well in these first 2 years of my business, but I also feel like I'm stuck in a moment where I know I need to delegate different tasks, but it's been hard, honestly, for me.
Yeah, it's hard to go from solopreneur to entrepreneur. And
Yeah.
sometimes people don't even realize that there's a difference. But yes, I offer something called a 90-minute quick win session. We
Okay.
go through everything that you have going on, and then we put a plan together. Now, at the end of that 90 minutes, your deliverable from me is your plan. Now, then you decide, do you feel that you can implement your plan alone, or do you need help? And then we decide how we work together. But it's a 90-minute time investment, and we go through everything and we walk away with a plan.
So it's like therapy, but for business.
Exactly. I like it. I'm
Okay,
gonna
now
call
I
it a therapy
understand.
session.
That concept. Oh my gosh, absolutely. Much
All right,
needed.
thank you.
Good question. All right. Any more questions today? Thank you so much for joining this afternoon, everyone. Again, I will send out this recording within the next couple of business days, so you'll see me in your inbox early next week with the recording and also Cheryl's contact information. Cheryl, thank you so much for breaking it down for us. It looks like there's a lot of work to do here and looking forward to moving forward. Again, you can also reach out to our entrepreneurial support team for one-on-one consultation here at Local First Arizona. Please feel free, membership at localfirstaz.com, and we can connect you to those resources. All right, everyone, have a fantastic afternoon, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you. Thank you.